A busy man is seldom visited by idle friends, no flies fly to a boiling pot. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. The only person with whom you have to compare ourselves is that you in the past. And the only person better you should be, this is who you are now. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. The first indication of stupidity is a complete lack of shame. Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, first make sure that you are not, in fact, just surrounded by assholes. When one does not have what one wants, one must want what one has. Friendship is an art of keeping distance, while love is an art of intimacy. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, a clinical method for evaluating and treating pathologies. Born May 6, 1856, Pryber, Czechia, died September 23, 1939, Hampstead, London. The mind is like an iceberg, it floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. A man who has been the indisputable favorite of his mother keeps for life the feeling of a conqueror. Most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. It is impossible to escape the impression that people commonly use false standards of measurement. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. The mind is so protean, so full of surprise and variety, that we need to retain the utmost and most untiring alertness in our observations of it. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Neurotics complain of their illness, but they make the most of it, and when it comes to taking it away from them, they will defend it like a lioness her young. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is, what does a woman want? It is a mistake to believe that a science consists in nothing but conclusively proved propositions, and it is unjust to demand that it should. The mind is like money. When you don't have it, you think about it; when you have it, you think about other things. No, our science is no illusion. But an illusion it would be to suppose that what science cannot give us, we can get elsewhere. In the journey of self-discovery, one must navigate the intricate pathways of the psyche to find the treasures buried within. The greatest victories are those over oneself, conquering the shadows that lurk within the recesses of the mind. To heal the wounds of the past, one must first acknowledge their existence and then nurture the scars that tell the story of resilience. Life is a theater where the unconscious mind plays the leading role. Understanding the script leads to a more profound appreciation of the drama. The pursuit of happiness is a journey inward, external pleasures are but fleeting mirages in the vast desert of the unconscious. In the symphony of the psyche, every emotion has its melody. To truly understand oneself is to appreciate the harmonies of one's own existence. No mortal is capable of keeping a secret. If his lips are silent, his fingertips speak, betrayal oozes from him through every pore. Words have a magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or the deepest despair. A father's death is the most important event, the more heartbreaking and poignant loss in a man's life. People in general are insincere in the sexual matters. They do not openly display their sexuality, but rather hide it by putting on a tight coat zone from a matter called lie, as if it were bad weather in the world of sexual relations. We are never so defenseless as when we love and never so helplessly unhappy as when we lose the object of love or his love. Who lacks sex speaks about sex, hungry talks about food, a person who has no money, about money, and our oligarchs and bankers talk about morality. Civilized society is perpetually menaced with disintegration through this primary hostility of men towards one another. The only shame in masturbation is the shame of not doing it well. Everyone owes nature and death. A woman will never want sex with a man who doesn't get her hints. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. Avoid women who talk a lot about sex, because often they have gotten a psychological breakdown from the lack of it. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery.